Hello, prayer warriors. It's Tina Kathleen here, and welcome back. Over the last few days, my heart has been overtaken on a profound spiritual journey, one that moved from deep anxiety to a peaceful heavenly consolation, and then into a painful reminder of how much our Blessed Mother and the true faith are rejected by the world. Just a few days ago, my husband Stan was undergoing a serious heart operation. So as you can imagine, the anxiety was heavy. To find peace, I went to my favourite local reserve for a bushwalk through nature. I walked several kilometres through the Aussie bush, immersed in the fresh air and morning sounds and song and sometimes the screeching of the birds. It had rained the night before, so the ground was moist and the air was pleasant and fragrant. Sometimes I would notice the waft of eucalyptus or lemon balm. As I walked, I prayed. There's nothing more comforting than holding my trusty monk rosary beads and passing each bead through my fingers as I recite the familiar prayers and consider the biblical mystery of the moment. Always beginning from the start with the joyful mysteries, of course, and calmly but steadily praying my way through each decade until the end. On this particular day, I was completely immersed in prayer and offering up my Holy Rosary for the success and healthy recovery of my husband's heart operation. A minor personal detail, I suppose, a spontaneous heartfelt prayer arose within me when I was parking the car before I went on my walk. And who would I call on in a moment like this? I was reflecting on which friend would be around. And I was at a loss at that moment to think of anyone available. I'm sure there were friends, but I was usually the one to offer my help than to receive it. And a reminder of the many friends and family I started to think about that I was no longer in touch with flooded my memory. And I wondered, is a small test perhaps to see if I would despair? But I didn't. We may not always see or understand God's mysterious, merciful ways within our life. Maybe at times we may see some of the connections like the back of a tapestry as a small glimpse of what the other side, the full picture we will see if we finally make it to heaven. But getting back to my story, when we are carrying a heavy cross, Our Lady never leaves us abandoned. So after that long walk, over 6,000 steps, I decided to take a morning rest and have some breakfast and a coffee. So by God's pure providence, I found myself to be at the right place at the right time. God knew exactly what my soul needed in that precise hour. While Stan was in surgery, the cafe was unusually busy, with most tables full up, and even though I'm a friendly person, hardly more than short gestures or small talk was made with anyone. That is until I met 3 wonderful international students from the Philippines. One of them, a young man named Jericho, became an instrument of grace for me this day. Right when I needed a comfort, he sat and listened as I shared my concerns and my faith and several supernatural experiences. There was no friction, no negativity, just the beautiful, enriching communion of the Catholic faith between 2 faithful Catholics. We shared an understanding of the profound treasury of the Church. It was a grace directly from Our Lady, providing friendship right when the burden was heaviest. We spoke, or rather I spoke, and he listened, with an insatiable appetite for the supernatural. It was evident he was a gracious man of God, to be interested in and capable of comprehending it all through the lens of the traditional Catholic faith. Providential indeed, to have met and be speaking with potentially the one person who could best shoulder this much content at once. The conversing and connection that is to be heard, understood, accepted, and to be on the same page lifted my heart this day and enriched my soul. I felt rejuvenated, grateful, connected. Experiences like these just don't happen. So not long after the beautiful exchange, we received wonderful news that Stan's operation was completely successful. What a relief. Later that afternoon, around 3 p.m, the hour of mercy, I went to pick up my son James from school, and as we were driving, would you believe the sky opened up with the most stunning, vibrant rainbow. James looked out the window in absolute awe and said, "Mum, look at that. Look at that beautiful arc rainbow. How does that happen?" We talked about the scientific wonder of it, but spiritually my heart knew it was something more. In Catholic tradition, Our Lady is often mysteriously referred to as the rainbow, the true ark of the covenant, the beautiful bow of peace spanning the heavens, signaling the end of the storm and God's mercy pouring out upon us. It felt like her mantle was wrapped right around us. The contrast. But the peace of the Catholic life is always a share in the text of the gospel. So today, unfortunately, I experienced the complete opposite of that beautiful communion. I was sitting in a French-style cafe after having done a bit of family food shopping, when a seemingly friendly Protestant woman next to me struck up a conversation. Small talk soon led to her preaching about her personal relationship with Jesus, being born again and being saved. I listened with charity, but when I gently asked, "But what about Mary?" we didn't understand Jesus. We understand Jesus through her Immaculate Heart. A wall instantly went up. She defensively snapped at me, "I don't want to debate you." I told her I wasn't debating. I just thought we were having a friendly Christian discussion. So it was an ongoing headbutting that we so often seem to face. They want to preach, but they have no tolerance, no charity, and no desire to listen to the fullness of the truth, not even biblically sometimes. It pained my heart so deeply, not because I wasn't hurt, but because of how much she disregarded the Mother of God, the woman of Genesis 3:15, the woman of Cana, the mother given to us at the foot of the cross. I want to just talk a little bit about the danger of rebellion and presumption. So as Catholics, we know a beautiful truth passed down through the centuries. Grace builds on nature. Have you heard that before? God meets us exactly where we are, but He doesn't intend for us to stay there. We are meant to cooperate with His grace, to open our hearts truly to the truth and to constantly deepen our understanding through the Church as our guide. But when a person chooses to remain in a state of Protestant rebellion, rebelling against the magisterium, against the sacred tradition, against the priesthood, against the holy sacraments, they don't realize how much they are stripping away their own supernatural defense. By rejecting the true succession of the priesthood, they completely deny the Holy Eucharist and the holy sacrifice of the Mass. They mouth the words saying, "Jesus died for our sins on the cross as an atonement," but they don't follow those words with the reality of the altar. They've reduced the ultimate act of atonement to a mere symbol. This systematic rebellion against God's established order leaves a soul incredibly vulnerable. It creates a subtle, dangerous gateway to the demonic, because where the authority of Christ's church and His sacraments are rejected, the enemy finds a foothold. To simply look at someone and say, "I am born again, I'm saved, I don't need all that religious stuff," is a sin of great spiritual presumption. We cannot presume our own salvation while actively pushing away the very instruments of grace, the Mass and the Blessed Mother that Jesus gave us. So it is a tragedy, and it truly pierces Our Lady's heart to see her children walking in such blindness, thinking they are safe while standing on the edge of the precipice. So this is why our response can't be anger. It must be an urgent, profound charity. I gave this woman a holy card, and it had a lovely picture of Our Lady holding baby Jesus and the biblical breakdown of the Hail Mary prayer on the reverse side. But she refused my offer of a rosary pack with the Bible on beads for more clarity. She soon fled, just like demons do, at the glance of Mary. Okay, now a little bit about the refuge of the Immaculate Heart, because I wanted to touch on Our Lady of Fatima. And today you can see on my altar a white statue of Our Lady, and that's how Our Lady of Fatima first appeared in the first apparition. White, wearing a white mantle and gold edging and a gold tassel and golden rosary bead, white rosary beads actually, and a golden crown. And the largest statue of Our Lady I have on the right hand side was how she presented herself to the children in the second apparition on the 13th of June 1917. And it's very important. I'm going to continue to kind of explore further about the the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And you can see that represented on her chest there on the statue before you. And that statue I received for my 30th birthday from my mother-in-law from a man in Melbourne, a Vietnamese man. He's now retired, and it was one of his handmade Mary statues left in his shop. So I was very grateful to receive it for my birthday, and I just love how the mantle glitters. It has got glitter all around it, and just when the candle is hitting the glitter, you can just see it. It's just really beautiful. But I wanted to read a few little snippets from the books in front of you as well. These are 3 books on Our Lady of Fatima. But just wanted to speak a little bit about the refuge of the Immaculate Heart, because in the second apparition of Fatima, when little Lucia, which is the oldest one there, she was 9, was filled with sorrow at the thought of being left behind on earth alone, Our Lady gave her a promise that belongs to every single one of us today. And she said to Lucia, "Do not lose heart. I will never forsake you. My Immaculate Heart will be your refuge and the way that will lead you to God." But what does this truly mean for her heart to be our refuge? Have you thought about this question before? So in a world that is increasingly hostile to the truth, a world where we find ourselves constantly headbutting against misconceptions, her heart is our spiritual sanctuary. It's where we run when we are weary. It's where we hide from the coldness and the lack of charity in the world. When we enter that refuge, we aren't stepping away from Jesus. We are stepping into the safest, purest vessel that leads us directly to his Sacred Heart. In fact, Mary gave her flesh to Christ, who is fully divine and God and fully human. And when you think about it, Our Lady being the Mother of God, baby Jesus would have fled to his mother for kindness and safety and as refuge. And that was God's choice. He chose and created Mary, the pure creature, as his mother. So, but to enter that refuge, we have to answer the question Our Lady asked the shepherd children in her very first apparition. And Our Lady asked, "Are you willing to offer yourselves to God and bear all the sufferings he wills to send you?" So when that Protestant woman rejected Our Lady right to my face and dismissed the Holy Mass, it was a sting of friction. But instead of letting it breed bitterness, I think, I'm choosing to say yes to Our Lady's request, and I'm offering that sting as well as all the other stings that we get, sometimes many per day, when dealing with atheists or pagans or Protestants or just people in general. We can offer these stings and these hardships up as an act of reparation for those who deny her and her Son. So right here at my home altar, I invite you to join me in taking refuge in her heart by offering our daily crosses. Let us pray the prayer taught to the 3 children by the angel of peace to console the hearts of Jesus and Mary. that's clear. Well, that's better. This is called the pardon prayer. And before Our Lady appeared to the children, the angel of peace appeared to them and taught the children the pardon prayer. And it goes like this. My God, I believe, I adore, I hope, and I love you. I beg pardon for those who do not believe, do not adore, do not hope, and do not love you. And he also taught them this prayer, the second prayer, the angel of peace taught Lucia, Francesco, and Jacinta. Most Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, I adore you profoundly, and I offer you the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ, present in all the tabernacles of the world, in reparation for outrages, sacrileges, and indifferences with which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the Immaculate Heart of Mary, I beg of you the conversion of poor sinners. I'd like to read to you from this beautiful book called Our Lady's Message to the Three Shepherd Children and the World. It's actually chapter 2, A Surprise from Heaven, the Angel of Peace. There was a light, graceful breeze that morning, and the children thought it would be an ordinary spring day as they met at their usual place before taking their flocks to the fields. A few songbirds chirping, their morning melodies occasionally interrupted the quiet that enveloped the countryside. The sky was bright and sunny as the three young shepherds walked up the beaten path on their way to the gazing spot. Something incredible was about to happen that the children would never have dreamed of, not even in a million years. The cousins ate their lunch, said their prayers, and were about to play a game when the trees began to sway in a strong gush of wind. The children paused to look up. What they saw took their breath away. A radiant angel as white as snow stood before them. He had the appearance of a 14 or 15-year-old boy. Do not be afraid, I am the angel of peace. Pray with me, he said to them. As astounded as they were, they felt at peace because the angel had told them not to be afraid. Lucia, Francesco, and Jacinta had learned about angels from their parents. They understood that angels are invisible helpers of mankind who behold the face of Jesus and praise and glorify him. They knew that God sometimes sends angels to earth. The Bible tells us that angels are ministering spirits sent forth to serve, Hebrews 1:14. The cousins prayed to their guardian angels every day, but did they ever expect to see an angel in this life? No, they certainly did not. Nevertheless, an angel now stood mysteriously before them. How could that be? They hardly had time to think about it. Heavenly graces enveloped them with peace, and they were comforted by the angel's greeting. They watched him intently and began to follow his example. They noticed right away that the angel was praying and that his posture was one of reverence. They watched the radiant being kneel and bow his head all the way down so that his forehead was flat against the ground. This was certainly a different way of praying. The children had never prayed with their heads touching the ground. The angel had invited the children to pray with him, however, and they felt prodded by mysterious graces to kneel and to bow down to the ground. They didn't even ask one another before doing this. They all just did it at once. Suddenly the angel voiced a prayer. My God, I believe, I adore, I hope, and I love you. I beg pardon for those who do not believe, do not adore, do not hope, and do not love you. The angel repeated this prayer 3 times. The children repeated the prayer too. Then the angel got up and told the children, Pray thus, the hearts of Jesus and Mary are attentive to the voice of your supplications. Then he vanished. It was perhaps a little difficult to take it all in, but God's graces continued to fill the children's hearts while they were in the presence of the angel and after he left. They had never thought of themselves as being so special before this day, but now they knew that the hearts of Mary, Jesus and Mary were attentive to their prayers. Suddenly they deeply desired to please Jesus and Mary more than ever before, and would continue to follow the angel's instructions to pray the prayer that he taught them. This prayer would become known as the pardon prayer. Francesco had not been able to hear the angel speak, but he could see and imitate everything that the angel did, as well as his sisters' and cousins' gestures. Lucia and Jacinta could see and hear the angel of peace. The deep reverence that the children witnessed in the angel stayed with them. They chose to remain in the reverent position for some time after he left. They stayed right where they were and prayed while the sheep grazed contentedly nearby. The young cousins felt a need to be very quiet and prayerful even into the next day. Their hearts were deeply touched by being with and praying with God's messenger. So the meaning of the pardon prayer. So why did the angel of peace come to the three young cousins that day when they were grazing their sheep? First of all, we can be sure that God had planned this special visit long before that time, and that he knew for certain that the three children were innocent and possessed hearts open to his will in their lives. The Lord always chooses humble souls for his messengers. Let's look at the prayer that the angel of peace taught the children. What do the words of the prayer mean? My God, I believe, I adore, I hope, and I love you. I beg pardon for those who do not believe, do not adore, do not hope, and do not love you. This special kind of prayer is called an intercessory prayer. By sincerely praying it, we proclaim to God that we believe in him, we adore him, and we hope in him, and we love him. We also tell him that we know that not everyone thinks this way, and that there are many who do not even believe in him. Furthermore, through this prayer, we ask that God would listen to our prayers and would please pardon the people who do not believe in him. We can have every hope that when we sincerely pray this prayer, it will not only help our own soul, but will aid others as well.